Greetings to all. Teddy's Gun Shop, your one and only stop for silliness, and hopefully we'll have a couple tips for you today. I just loaded some, I think about 60 or 70 9mm 115 grain. I went over to Cabela's and I bought some powder. This is what I bought right here. It's HB 38 Hagden pistol powder. It does tell you right on the front, you know, the caliber 9mm, charge 5.1 grains, bullet 115, blah 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 blah, Winchester primer, CCI 500, complete outside length 1 inch 125, blah 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 blah, which is good. Now, that's for a hollow point bullet on there, the 5.1 grains of powder. You got to be very careful. The best thing for you to do before you start loading is to go on the internet, and you can get them anywhere. This is what I did. Bullet acronyms and abbreviations. There is everything on here. For example, plus P, that means it contains a higher powder charge than normal, 10 to 15% overpressure. J, usually jacketed. P is usually point. S could be soft, semi-spear, or Spitzer. The basic ones down the bottom around here, you're going to see it, like BJHP, brass jacketed hollow point. Let me see where I am here. I'm going to find the second page here. Most of the ones you're going to see are FMJ, full metal jacket. Full metal jacket RN. RN stands for round nose, which is this type of bullet right here. That's a round nose. Okay, these bullets are very reasonably priced. You usually get 500 of them for a little over $40. I'll put it right here on top of that. You can see it. Oh, there it goes. It's hard to see, but there it is right there. It's just a little piece that gets pressed in after you put the right powder charge in. What I usually do is I take a case and I tumble them all, get them nice and clean. And I got a bunch of them over here. Let me grab a couple. I got them nice and clean. They're like brand new when I'm done with them. A couple of tricks I do to clean them. Generally what I do is I'll take one and I'll do one at a time just to make sure my press is running properly before I start loading 70 or 100. I just drop it in the single tube from the top and I deprime it, knocks the primer out. Second stage, what it does is it puts a new primer in. I have a depriming dye in there, but what I did is I took the pin out of it. So all you're doing is it lines up, basically just lines it up to put the primer in. It centered it. You want to have your primer adjusted properly so your finger goes, you know, you don't want it to be extruding, protrude, whatever you want to call it. You want it nice and flat. Maybe a hair in that you can feel it, but you definitely don't want it sticking out too far and you don't want it in. You get a couple bullets that you've bought and you look at them and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. Then the next stage is a powder charge and it bells the mouth. By belling the mouth, what it does is it barely opens it enough. Just enough for that bullet to just sit on there by itself. You're not going to see it drop down, because if you do, when you go to put it in the crimping die, it's going to disappear. So, see, just like that. The powder charge, every machine is different. This has a disc system, the Lee Loadmaster. It comes at 4 different discs. Now you're going to find out what you're using. So what I did is I went on Hagden's website, and they have every bit of information you need. Research what you're going to do. Buy the powder you want and research it. On here, it'll tell you, it says manufacturer Hagden, HB 38, bullet diameter 356.356, which is 9mm. COL, complete outside length. That is your finished length. You're going to take a pair of verniers and you're going to zero them out, and then you're going to go like this. That's your complete outside length. Okay? Now, you can start the load at 4.3 grains. This is just a little over 4.2 that I'm loading. The complete outside length is 1 inch 100 thousandths. So that's what you're going to want for a complete outside length for that charge. Okay. Now, this bullet right here that I'm doing with this powder, you have a starting load and a maximum load. The maximum load for this powder, the way I'm doing these bullets right here, the 115 grain with a 9mm, is 4.8 grains. That's a hot load. That's going to be a lot. You know, it's actually 1,135 feet per second, whereas the way I'm doing them, they're 1,079. So it's a little bit, you know, a little bit more powerful. But I suggest to start on the lower end when you start out loading your own bullets. That's the way I would normally do it, because you don't want to look for trouble. And then I got, you know, the crimping die where it crimps it. You really want to get a little digital scale. And after what you want to do is you want to pull the shell before it's charged, put it on the scale, and zero it out. Put it back in, put the finger against it, go up and do your charge. Then put it on the scale and see what you got. You'll have your 4.2, 4.3. You'll be right on the money. You need to know all that stuff before you get silly here charging, because you could have problems. Then you go over and you do your crimp, and then I went one step farther and bought the factory crimp. I haven't had too many issues with the Lee Loadmaster press. Today it was flawless again. You do have to put some lubrication on the ram that goes up and down. Your rod that makes the shell plate holder go back and forth, you need to take that out, put a little bit of grease on it every time you use it. Even the plastic part right here, this plastic part right here, you want to put a little bit of grease on that, okay? And then a little bit of grease on your press also, where it comes out and rides against it. So when you're loading, you come down, it shoots it out, you want it to go right back in. A few times it has jammed on me. I don't know why. I haven't touched any of the settings, anything. It's perfect. I'm going to maybe file it a little bit so it's a little smoother, and every time I use it, you have to put a dab of grease on the machine and on the back of that plastic thing. It just, when it comes out and hits it, it just glides right back in, because it does come out on an angle. And if you stop sometimes halfway, then you want to go back in, it kind of gets jammed. Okay, so that's another thing you got to worry about. But just a little informational video about loading. You got to be very careful. Like I said, I just did 80. They're all within specs of what I want. I think the next couple of videos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing some hollow points, 124 grain. So I'm going to order some different bullet heads. Not sure where I'm going to get them yet. They did have a sale at the place that I buy them from. Is called, got it right here. It's called Everglades Ammunition and Reloading. www.evergladesammo.com. See, I got 500 for 46 bucks, I believe it was, and I think they're wonderful. They're great people to deal with. They're very well. A couple new videos I'm going to be doing is, guys have asked me, your steel ammo cans that the military has, you can pick them up very cheaply. Sometimes you go to a gun show, you can get 2 for 20 bucks or whatever. They're cheap. Don't buy the ones at Walmart. They're junk. They really don't have good seals on them. They're not waterproof. Not that you're going to be bringing it in a pond or a lake, but they're not waterproof. Get a decent one. Cabela's got the decent ones. Bass Pro Shops. Or you can just go on the internet and find them on eBay. Well, you go to a gun show, you can Jew the people down. You give them 15, 20 bucks for 2 of them. There are inserts that they make. They're injected out of a foam. And you actually, it's pretty cool. You can put your guns in there on an angle and some magazines in the top. I'll show you, and I'll give you the information from where I got the injected parts for the inside of mine. Very reasonably cheap to make. You can put a lock kit on it. It's cool to go to the gun shop and walk in and say, hey, look what I just put together here. And the guys are like, what in the heck is that? You know, they're kind of amazed over the stuff like that. The little things like that in life, you know, that people smile about. So, I don't know, just a little information I want to share with everybody. I want to do a complete video on this Lee Loadmaster. Now that I have it up and running, and the best thing to do is just tinker with it a little at a time, because that's when you're going to find out your little issues. And then when you do find out the issues, you got to figure out how to fix them. And they're usually something stupid that's happening. Just like I ran out of primers before, and I didn't even realize it, and I loaded 2 bullets with no primers in them like a dummy. But it's how you learn. You learn by your mistakes. That's how you become good at doing stuff. But like right now, I got it. It seems to be working good. You want to come down and push it right out and go. You want to like that. You come down, you want it out, and boom, just like that. But pretty happy with the press. Powder is reasonably cheap. I'm about 13.5 cents. I'm doing a round for, which I think is good. I know they're coming out right. I have got all my brass for free. Hang on a second, I'll show you what I got here. This is what I got. I think there's 3,000 in here. Something like that. This box is full. It's about 3,000 in there. I got another couple hundred in there. So I got plenty of brass. I probably got about 4,000 rounds I got total, and I probably got about 700 left that's already cleaned, ready to go. And it's fun. It's fun to be able to load your own stuff. I'm going to sign off. It's Sunday, January 5th. And I just want to say God bless my grandmother that passed away 2 years ago today on January 15th. It's not the same without her, and we miss her. Love you, Grandma Mary. Teddy's Gun Shop signing off. God bless everybody.